There's only one more episode for the Rings of Power Season 1, and I have felt extremely underwhelmed by it. It is a terrible fan fiction with a touch of Tolkien, and it has gotten roasted online by both fans and the media. But it's looking like the show is turning out to be a disaster for Amazon because not only is it getting ratioed online, is everyone talking negatively about it, but it will be years before Season 2 releases, meaning the content now has to keep people around for years to come, and it doesn't look like that'll happen. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start off with the Screen Rant article. It says, with the Rings of Power Season 1 finale just around the corner, the showrunner, Patrick McKay, estimates that Season 2 may take another couple of years. Now, of course, TV shows take a while to make, okay? I am not sitting here saying we should have Rings of Power Season 2 next year, but the problem is that this show hasn't had the best reception, and when that happens, you don't want to leave people with content that they don't like for years because they won't come back and watch it. They're not going to, think about all of the different theories and think about what you're going to do in the next season. They're just going to set it and forget it. It says, though, the Rings of Power Season 2 may still be several years away, even though production on the prequel series show should be speeding up. The show is being helmed by J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay in the writing duo's first foray as showrunners, and based on Tolkien's novel series and its appendices, The Rings of Power tells the tale of the Second Age of Middle-earth, set thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movie trilogies. Of course, we know that J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are newbies in Hollywood. This is the first project that they've really worked on. I don't think that they really have done a good job, and I definitely don't think that they deserve a second season to attempt to work with Tolkien's material. I think they've done a terrible job, but not only that, I love how these articles are saying, it tells the tale of the Second Age of Middle-earth. It really doesn't, though. I mean, these are new storylines. Most of the characters we see are new characters. It just feels like it's in a Tolkien setting, but with new everything else, which is very unfortunate because going into this show, a lot of us were very excited to see the Second Age in all of its glory, and we thought that maybe Amazon would be able to put enough money into this that it would turn out to be a good product, but unfortunately, it hasn't been. It says the Rings of Power Season 1 premiered on September 1st on Prime Video with the season's first 2 episodes and was met with considerable success, though the prequel series debut was a long time coming. I wouldn't call this season a success so far, okay? The show is sitting at a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, we know that Amazon is protecting the scores on IMDb and their actual website, but whenever this show trends on social media, it's because of the negativity. It's because people are disappointed with the product that we're getting. All of the fan theories that have been online also aren't that positive because that means that we don't have a clear direction with what they're doing with characters and storylines. Yes, it's always good to give us twists and turns, don't get me wrong, but every character is like, okay, what are they doing now? Where are they going? What is going to be their storyline? We have absolutely no clue, and there's only 1 episode left for this season. Getting into the meat of this article, though, it says, for those already anticipating the Rings of Power's return, showrunner McKay teases when it may happen. He shared an estimated timeline for Season 2's debut with The Hollywood Reporter while giving a behind-the-scenes look at the production, revealing that it may take another couple of years. The estimate is a marked improvement on the Rings of Power Season 1's production rate, thanks in part to the relaxing of pandemic concerns. Now, yes, Season 1 took years and years and years to make, from acquiring the rights to figuring out the story and then actually filming and editing the show. I do think that time is definitely not on their side when it comes to season 1. You would expect season 2 to go along much quicker, but still, if the show takes 3 years to make, they're going to be in deep shit, because again, people are going to be left with only season 1 that most people didn't enjoy. It says, naturally, production speeds for the following seasons of The Rings of Power will be quicker than season 1's because the crew has a base to work with, but the show's epic scale will still take time to create. Now, this obviously could end up being a giant disaster for Amazon. $1 billion on season 1. It's going to be years until we get a season 2, and there's articles like this releasing. The Rings of Power may end up being the most expensive disaster ever made. If this show had a better reception, if the user scores were better, if most of the talk on social media was positive, I really don't think that it would be that big of a deal, but unfortunately for Amazon, it hasn't been positive. So this article brings up a bunch of good points about the show, but it says Jeff Bezos may have enough money to buy a $165 million mansion and fly himself to space, but even he may be put out in the cold if The Rings of Power is a flop. It says, of course, after all, this show was a $1 billion investment. While some fans have been angry about the show's cast for ages and have worried about its overall quality, it's only now that their feelings are being confirmed. Many critics absolutely loathe The Rings of Power and have warned that its first few episodes spell disaster for the most expensive TV show ever made. It says the tone of The Rings of Power is a mess. The Rings of Power is a bad prequel. The Rings of Power characters aren't complicated enough, and it doesn't take enough risks. And of course, this isn't the only article that's bringing up the fact that The Rings of Power isn't doing great right now. I know Forbes has also posted several articles, specifically Eric Kane. He is someone who is against what Hollywood is doing to beloved franchises right now, but he has put out an article every single week, and this week says Episode 7 review, "Welcome to Mordor, it gets worse here every day." I was so underwhelmed with the Mordor reveal, the way that they showed the name. It's almost like they forgot to have the actor record a voice line naming the Southlands Mordor, so they had to put it on screen, and it was just so cheap and bad. Now, I'm not going to read this whole entire article of him breaking down the episode, but I will read the ending. It says, all told, another pretty terrible episode of The Rings of Power. Killing off Celeborn, especially since it has to be a head fake, is so utterly ridiculous. I'm not sure I can fit my disdain for this creative decision into this post. I may have to write a second one, just so I can give it room to breathe. The melodrama in the Mine storyline is really, really stupid also, and continues to create unpleasant conflict between characters that simply has no place in this story. I'm confused that the Númenóreans already have Pelargir founded in Middle-earth. The crunching down on the timelines means we have no bearing on when anything really is, but the impression I got was that the island realm hadn't really done much in Middle-earth yet, but they actually have a major port city already set up, which is where Queen Bronwyn the Brave is headed next. Perhaps they're going to drop off the sick and wounded there. It says, this all speaks to the shoddy world building in this series that's partly so bad because of the timeline issues, and partly because we never really get a sense of scale or distance. Overall, I've been disappointed with the show so far. I know so many of you have been as well. I am going to watch the final episode next week. I'm going to give it a chance, and then I'll be giving you all my full review on the series. I don't think that much is going to change going into the next episode. I don't think I'm magically going to love it. I don't think that there could be any good twists or turns in one more hour-long episode. I honestly think that they should have went for 10 episodes at least with this first season. Of course they didn't, though. They just wanted to keep it to 8. But overall, very disappointed so far, and it does seem like this show is turning out to be a major disaster for Amazon. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.